right.
You have thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Divine Favor, for this great welcome. Yeah, first of all, I'd like to begin by appreciating the founder of this noble NGO, Geshi, no other person but the amicable Loretta Machuku Obimdike, for this unreserved privilege to actually speak to you all, my fellow nature enthusiasts, on this very day and in commemoration of the World Environment Day, which holds every 5th of June. All right. So do you have the slides?
Yeah, a minute.
Okay. So we'll just start quickly. And like he rightly said, my name is Tochukwu Thengoda Kafo, and I'm currently a master's degree student studying MSc in Landscape Ecology and Nature Conservation in the University of Greifswald, Germany. So when Divine was trying to, when he was trying to mention the name of the university, I was saying Greifswald. Yeah, that's how it is. I think most people do not know how to, especially when you don't have good knowledge of German. Before I came here, I also used to pronounce it as Greifswald. But yeah, it is what it is.
Can you see the
All
slides now?
Yes, we can see the slides now. Thank you. So without further ado, we're just going to talk, as you guys know, we don't have much time, so I have just 20 minutes, of which I think 2 minutes is already gone. So we have the introduction and 2024 World Environment Day theme exposition, the objectives of the World Environment Day, as well as actions we can take. Now, that being said, we'll move to the next slide, please. Yeah. So for the next slide, you can see that talking about World Environment Day, somebody might ask, what is this World Environmental Day? So it is a day that is celebrated annually, which means every year on the 5th of June, every year. Nothing changes it. So mark this in your calendar from today if you do not know. Every 5th of June marks the World Environment Day. And this is a global platform for raising awareness and taking action on urgent environmental issues. So year to year, there is always a theme, and that brings us to the theme for this year. As we all know, this day is actually a reminder of our collective duty to care for the environment. So it reminds us that you and I have a role to play towards the conservation of our environment, because without the environment, you and I cannot exist. So that leads us to the theme exposition, because every year, like I said, there are there is always a topic every single year. So for this year, the theme for this year is land restoration, desertification, and drought resilience. So every year, like I mentioned earlier, we have a theme. For last year, the theme was beat plastic pollution, if I'm right. Yeah, I think so. So every year, the United Nations comes up with a particular theme for the World Environment Day. So for this year, they brought out this wonderful thing which says land restoration, desertification, and drought resilience. And without further ado, let's just, did you say something? Okay, so without further ado, let's just, ride on with that. So one might ask, what is land restoration? Land restoration can be either, renaturalization or rewilding. And it's the process of restoring land to a different or previous state with an intended purpose. So some things can actually have, every land has a particular purpose. And that's why I said with an intended purpose. Now, I also said it can be renaturalization or rewilding. So that means that land restoration has two types, which is either the natural or the artificial, that's the man-made. So natural is when you let the land to renaturalize. You just leave it there without any human input. It just restores itself. While the rewilding or the artificial means man has to do the work. We have to plant the trees. That is restoring that piece of land, but with man input. So that is that for that. And of course, it always has an intended purpose. So the next is desertification. When you talk of desertification, it's the process by which natural or human causes reduce the biological productivity of dry lands. That is, whether arid or semi-arid lands. We all already know what dry lands are. And I went further to put on the slide that declines in productivity may actually result from a lot of factors, which include deforestation, poverty, overgrazing, climate change. These factors are actually what can contribute to the decline in productivity, thereby leading to desertification. And the next slide says, what is drought? Now, even from the name, you can actually already guess what drought is. Drought simply means, in a layman's understanding, lack of water, shortage of water. So, but according to the World Health Organization, drought is a prolonged dry period that can affect health, agriculture, economies, energy, and the environment. So this is how the World Health Organization puts it. Because when they just say shortage of water, people might not really understand the depth or the damage this can actually cause to our everyday life. And I think that's why the World Health Organization made it known to us that it is a prolonged dry period that can affect health, organization, economies, energy, and the environment. I don't know, for those of us that are familiar with the Bible, we know how famine was. So famine was also a prolonged dry period of no food. So you can imagine when we also have a prolonged dry period of no water, you can imagine what your daily life will be. And it is mostly characterized by lack of precipitation, which results in water shortage. Of course, you know where this is driving at. You can see the picture which is below it, and you can see for yourself that this was actually a very big river, because you can see the mud, the clay around it. It shows this was actually a river. But due to the lack of precipitation, which can be caused by so many factors, which we are not going to dive into today because of time. So there are so many factors that can actually cause droughts. One of them is climate change, as you and I have guessed. I'm sure you guessed that too. So climate change is actually one of the causes of drought. That leads us to asking you this question. So did you actually know that according to the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, so that's the UNCCD, that up to 40% of the planet's land, that is the land, the planet, this earth, so 40% of the earth is degraded, directly affecting half of the world's population. This is alarming, right? Yeah. I was also surprised when I saw this. I knew obviously that the world, a lot of land is being degraded, but 40% is very alarming. And I don't know when you and I need to buckle up. I don't know when everyone needs to sit up and look for a lasting solution to this, because it's really getting out of hand. 40% of the Earth's surface is degraded, and it's already affecting half of the world's population. Now, there's also another one there which says the number and duration of droughts has increased by 29% since 2000. So since the year 2000, it's not even reducing. The drought is not reducing, rather it is increasing. And up until now, it has increased for 29%. And without urgent action, droughts may affect over 3/4 of the world's population by the year 2050. So that's the prediction. And 2050, how many years from now? Before you blink your eyes, we're already in 2050. So you can imagine what that would be. Most times, we're not just, when we talk about conservation, it's not just for your benefits. It's for the future. It's for your unborn children. It's for the future generation. Of course, you and I would benefit from it, but then it's also for the future. So you can imagine in the year 2050, some of us might already be grandparents by then. You never can tell. So this is actually what the prediction is, that the number is actually 29%. That leads us to the next slide. So objectives of the World Environment Day, because someone might ask, what exactly is this day for? So the day is actually to raise awareness, so they increase the importance of healthy land ecosystems. I love what Geshe is doing. A big shout out to Geshe, always going out, reaching out to students, reaching out to market people, reaching out to a lot of people, even the elderly people in the community, letting them know the roles that they can actually play. Whether it's in their farm, they can practice agroforestry, So these are things that we actually do on World Environment Day to raise awareness. Another thing that can be done is to promote action. So we encourage policies and practices that support land restoration and sustainable management. I remember one time, I think a few months ago, she actually called out the state government of Anambra State. They need to really take action towards conservation of our natural resources. So a big shout out once again to Geshi. You guys are doing amazing. I mean, World Environment Day is one day that the world has actually set out to do these things, but Geshi does it on a daily basis. So kudos. And another one is to build resilience. So that is enhance community resilience to drought. So that's particular for this year. To drought through innovative solutions and sustainable practices. So they can actually go to these communities that are experiencing drought, because there are communities, a lot of communities that are experiencing drought firsthand. So the NGOs, humans, people, can actually go to these communities, talk to them, tell them ways that they can actually, live a sustainable lifestyle that can help them conserve and preserve their water. So the next slide, quickly. All right. So we still have, the next slide. Okay, the actions you can take. Conserve water. So now it's talking about what can you do? What exactly can you do? Because we've been talking about, this is what the World Environment Day is all about. It's for this, it's for that. But this is where Nigerians would say this is where the cocoa is, Now here the cocoa day. So what actions can you take to actually conserve, to actually make the environment a better place for you and for the future generation? One of them, I'm talking particularly for this year, is to conserve water. And how can you conserve water? Simply by adopting water-saving practices in daily life. Some of us, we are so used to just buying bottled water every time. What happened to your tap water? I mean, if you have access to tap water, you can actually drink it. When you're going out, take your bottled water, fill it up and go out with it. It helps a lot. You might not know this, but truly it helps. So if everybody starts doing that, I'm sure there will be no much waste of water, because you can imagine how many people buy bottles of water every day without finishing it and just throw it away. You just drink half to quench your thirst and you throw it, you move to the next bus stop, you buy another one, you throw it away without finishing. So when you have your bottled water, you cannot throw your bottled water away. So that way you have it till the end of the day. Another way, when you're having your shower, some people, when they want to wash away their depression or their heartbreak or whatever, they stay in the shower for 2 hours. You see? So countries like the United States, in some regions, they actually have minutes for shower. So if you stay longer than 10 minutes in the shower, the water turns off. That's the way they can actually conserve their water. So some places do not have that. I know in Nigeria we have water, yes. But also it's a way you can conserve water, because somehow water is, connected globally. So you can actually conserve your water by reducing the number of hours you spend. Well, there are other ways because of time. We'll not dive into that. So another action you can actually take is to support sustainable agriculture. So you have to support it. Even if you're not a farmer, some people will say, well, I'm not a farmer. How can I support sustainable agriculture? Yes. One way you can do this is to choose products from sustainable sources and support local farmers. So if you see these farmers in your community who are actually doing the real farming, they don't use genetically modified crops, you can actually buy from them, purchase from them, and it encourages them to do more. But when you do not patronize these people, they might get tired, and before you know, they actually seek other ways. And when you see people who practice agroforestry, kudos, try as much as possible, get customers for them. In fact, you can also publicize, do what Geshi is doing, preach the good news. Tell people you can actually do whatever you're doing in a sustainable way. Another one is to participate in reforestation. And you can do this by engaging in tree planting and land restoration projects. This is very important and very key when you talk about reforestation. It's not just about sitting in your room doing nothing. You can actually go out there to the field, mobilize people once in a while, go to schools, go to the marketplace, plant a tree. It's something that would actually help a lot, because when we talk and we don't do, it actually doesn't make any difference. So you need to do the talk. And another one is advocate for policies. support policies that promote land restoration and combat desertification. So this is actually just geared towards this year's World Environment Day. So for this year's theme, you can actually see it's talking more about land restoration, restoring our water and all of that. So this is actually one thing you can do. Stand up, take the action, okay? You can mobilize your friends. Yes, let them ask you, when did you change? Tell them, yes, I changed today. Tell them the need to actually conserve. Spread the good news. Do not be ashamed to do this because your posterity will be grateful for that. Your unborn children, the future generation will be grateful. Imagine we live in the earth as worse as it is now. Imagine it being worse than this in the next 50 to 100 years. And then we bring the new generation. What are we leaving for them? It's really going to be unbearable, I can imagine. So please, we need to try as much as possible to engage in conservation activities. And for the conclusion, I would say addressing land degradation, desertification, and drought resilience is crucial for a sustainable future. I hope I still have time. So it's very, very crucial for a sustainable future because there can be no future without these things. When we do not have a safe environment, our future is not guaranteed. You can't even work, you can't even go to school, you can't even do nothing. So it's very, very encouraging of us. It would be very encouraging of us and very appreciative if we actually address these things. So try as much as possible to contribute your own little quota. And that's why I went further to say that through collective efforts and sustainable practices, we can restore ecosystems, improve livelihoods, and build resilience against climate change. To add to this, your little step can actually go a long way to helping us conserve the world and make it a better place for us. If you're going to work, if you have the opportunity to use the public transport, please do. If you must fly, please fly commercial. I know a lot of people want to show off wealth by using private jets and all of that. But yeah, if you can fly, if you must fly, I would advise you fly commercial because it helps to actually reduce the CO2 emissions. In essence, what I'm saying is every little drop of water makes a mighty ocean. So do not think that that little thing you might do doesn't contribute. It does a lot because someone might see you doing that and would actually tap in from that. So I want to encourage us out there, nature enthusiasts, please do as well as much as you can to actually promote conservation. Thank you so much once again, Geshi, for this wonderful opportunity. And of course, if you have your questions, feel free to ask. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Thank God, for this enlightening session. I believe we learned a lot. Personally, I noted down some interesting points. All right. Thank you once more. So this is an opportunity for us to ask questions and make contributions. So if you have any question or contribution, something you can add, our topic in this session is land restoration, desertification, and drought, which is a reflection of the theme for the World Environmental Day, which is tomorrow. So if you have any contribution you can make, you can share it to us so we can also tap from that knowledge. And then if you have questions that you can direct to Mr. Tuch, please. Okay. Diana, you can unmute yourself.
So, hello, can you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. Please proceed.
Okay, so under land restoration, my question would be, as someone working in an organization that focuses on sustainable cities, SDG 11, what are some of the ways we can go about land restoration in cities, like major cities, like Nairobi, like Lagos? How can we go about the land restoration?
All right. Thank you so much for that question. So if I heard you right, you're asking, as someone that works with an NGO, how can you go about land restoration projects in big cities, right?
Yes, yes.
Like Lagos. All right. The first thing is to actually locate the degraded landscape that you want to restore. And it depends on what kind of landscape is it. Is it water? Is it a mountain? Is it a forest? Is it a peatland? Whatever kind of landscape it is. After you get that, then the next thing is to actually find out the cause of that degradation, because there are so many factors that influence land degradation. So when you find out what exactly the cause is, then you can go ahead to profile solutions, because when you do not know the cause of a problem, it's very difficult to profile solution. And that would lead you into knowing what approach to use. Do you want to use the renaturalization, or is it the rewilding process of land? You remember I told you there are two types, right, of land restoration, which is the natural and artificial. So natural is you letting everything to regenerate, while to renaturalize, while the artificial is just rewilding, you planting and doing all of that. So then after you've actually found this out, the next thing is to look for the appropriate authorities. So even here in Germany, you cannot just do things. You can't just go because you're trying to restore a landscape, a degraded landscape, and you just dive into it. No, you have to seek permission from the authorities responsible. So if it's in a local government, try to meet the local government chairperson. Every time dialogue always solves the issue. Don't just go and start doing it, because it might actually be very wrong of you. So endeavor to seek permission from the authorities. And I'm sure from there, you know the next step to take. They would actually tell you if there are plans already on ground. If there are plans, you key into the plan and go on. If there are no plans, you start from there to make plans, get sponsorships, because that's another important thing. You can't just do this on your own. So get sponsorships. It mustn't be financial. It can just be human, human capital. It can be financial, whatever kind of resource. It can be getting somebody who knows more than you, or someone who has done this before. So it's just a whole lot of plan. But the most important thing is to make the first step, which is finding out the cost. After that, you actually know the person who is in charge of that local environment, either the local government chairman, or if it's the state government, or the minister, whatever it is. After you get to the authorities, the next thing is for you to now draw a plan. Thank you. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much for your response. Just in case some people missed out on the question and the answer. Diana, she asked for ways for land restoration in major cities, say example Lagos, and he gave a response. He gave an outline of how you can follow suit to solve such situations. He mentioned that you locate the landscape of interest, identify the cause, then profile solutions. You can follow through with the right solution pathway, reflecting the type of situation occurring in that area. Then you seek authorization. Thank you so much, Mr. Thank God and Diana, for your question. Who else has any other question? You can indicate by raising your hand. Questions or contribution?
I have a contribution.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you once again for joining us in this important discussion. So, and thank you so much, Mr. Toshko, for this wonderful presentation. Thank you. So on the cities, planting for cities, the practice of urban forestry is very important. You have to look at, do what we call the impact assessment, environmental impact assessment, because that will actually determine, because it's after those assessment processes that you will know what is needed in the land, because you can't just go in that you want to restore a city, because now even villages are turning to cities. So how do we make sure that these things are integrated? Is by actually, one, looking at it, because an impact assessment will show you how many trees and how many buildings will be in an area, which an integration of all of these would help that particular community or that particular space to be as sustainable as possible, and to have all the benefit that every human being and as an environment should have. So it's important that you do the impact assessment, just like Tochukwu stated, and also to know the land. Then on the general landscape of these desertification, number one is to practice, there is what we call the analog forestry principles. The analog forestry principles actually helps when it comes to, like, it is a building block, or will I say, yeah, a roadblock to this reforestation, and also maybe the land halting drought and all of those things, or halting desertification and also combating drought. To practice the agroforestry, we first of all need to know the land, because some persons delve into restoration processes without even knowing the land that they want to restore. So that is a very important, knowing the land that you want to restore is a very important step when it comes to restoration processes. Then you have to know the land, then look at the forest close by to it and know whether, okay, this is a forest close by, then know what is there, because from knowing what is there, then you can link it. It can serve as a reference forest to the one that you want to restore. So, like, and looking at these things will help you as a restorer, or as an environmental enthusiast, or as an environmentalist, or maybe as an NGO person, to be able to do the restoration processes proper. Because number one is, people do restoration, especially in our ecosystem in Nigeria, people just delve into restoration processes without actually knowing what they want to restore. And that is why most 90, or let me say 80% of restoration projects in Nigeria is a failed project. Why? Because we do not look at the land. We ignore it. We kind of do it like, okay, we have the money, we have the resources, and we go into the restoration process instead of studying those places. Like, indigenous tree species are very important. Yeah, we all say that. Also, the exotic tree species also have their own role. So we have to know how many indigenous, or how many of the exotic species should be integrated in the said ecosystem. So these are one of the things that we need to know when we actually want to contribute in this in this field of restoration, or maybe land desertification. Desertification. Yeah. And desertification. So we just need to look at it holistically and know what is wrong and where we can come in. So you don't just delve into, I need to go and do tree planting, and you go there, do tree planting, and the next day, or maybe in the next 3 months, those things are not there anymore. So let's not do projects for doing sake. Let's just do it for the sake of the environment, and that is knowing what we want to do. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your outstanding contribution. In the course of the session, I would like to just recognize Mr. Onyeka Chichuku from Green Eyed, who just joined us. So in case, thanks for coming. In case you have any other question or contribution, please, you still have chances to raise them up so we can treat it. If you have anything you want to share for others to talk about, even if it's not basically our topic, but something in line with the World Environment Day celebration, which is going to happen tomorrow. So if you have any other thing.
Okay, I have a question. Maybe to our speaker and presenter of today. What are some of those innovations that one can deploy in this restoration process, or maybe the halting desertification?
Some of the what?
Innovative, the innovation. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think innovation is actually dependent on the NGO or the person who wants to actually foster this conservation initiatives or restoration project. So first of all, like you said, the environmental impact assessment has to be done. So when you assess this place, you found out what exactly is responsible. That would actually spur you to know some of the innovative approaches to use. So if it's actually a place where has been turned into a farm, so a forest that has been cleared and turned into a farm, one of the innovative stuff you can actually do is to introduce agroforestry system to the farmers. So you tell them, okay, you can actually, you can actually do this both things in combination. We have different forms of agroforestry. So it could be silvipastoral, it could be any form of agroforestry, whether they want to include animals with the farming, with the agriculture, with forests rather, or they want to just inculcate the crops, the forests and the crops. So this is actually one innovative way to go about it. So it depends on what the problem actually is. So when you get the main cause of that degradation, then you can actually decide what exactly you need to do. So it all depends on the problem, like I said earlier. And everything lies in the hands of the restorer, either an NGO or individuals who actually want to do this. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. I equally have a question, but I don't know, does anyone else has a question here before I ask mine? Okay, my
There was
question.
a hand up before.
Okay, please, who is that?
So don't worry, continue.
I have a question. Sorry.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. It's more of a clarification from what you said earlier, Mrs. Loretta, concerning the land, knowing the land. I want to really understand something. Does it mean that before any restoration is carried out, that land, that knowing the land serves to know the species that thrives in that land, so that you know the exact type of plants you are going to cultivate there for restoration?
Yes.
Is that what you are trying to say?
Yes, exactly. Like knowing the land entails so many things. Like when we want to do a proper restoration, we have to study the soil in which that place is and also make a reference. That was why I mentioned to reference a forest close by, because that will help you to know like the species that have thrived there before, because definitely that is what will thrive there again. And if we actually want to do a restoration, like an all-encompassing restoration that will involve a species a diversity in that area, like to build or to keep the biodiversities in that area, then we actually need to look at those species that have thrived there before, because that would help. Yeah, that is the proper thing to do when you actually want to do a restoration process. Know the land. So it integrates knowing the species. It integrates studying the soil or maybe testing the soil. In places, in advanced places, before they do a restoration a project, they first of all test the soil. Like maybe it has been degraded for a very long time, then they need to do all of these things. Study it, know the things that can thrive there, know the biological diversities that have thrived there in the past, not just the trees now, but every other thing, both the fauna and the flora. And that is how, or that would be, that would be the criteria to whatever that you as the restorer or as an organization will introduce to that land. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Are you clarified, Professor?
Yes, I am.
Thank you so much. Okay, my question is, the theme of tomorrow, the theme of World Environment Day 2024 is land restoration, desertification, and drought. So personally, I have a particular interest in the water sector and drought. Yes, desertification and land restoration has, will I say, a connection with the water sector, but drought specifically, I've not.
Yeah, 1 minute.
I've not had any experience personally regarding a first-hand experience of experiencing the effects of drought and all whatnot. But I would like to know if there is any approach you know that can be used in tackling droughts. Any approach one can implement in tackling drought.
Right. Did you say we have just 1 minute?
Yeah. So please, thank you everyone, and thank you, Divine, for your question. But every other question will be forwarded. Maybe you keep it in the chat, or we will leave our email address so you can email it there, and it will be responded accordingly.
Sure.
And it will be sent to you. Just leave your email address, and every other question, send your question to us. Let me put the email. Send your question to us, and
We'll answer them. Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you all. It was nice engaging with you.
Yes, thank you all so much. Our time is 4.